Everybody, in this video, I will show you how to play 5 easy, iconic punk riffs so you can get up and going, pissing off your neighbors and impressing your friends right away. The songs are in standard tuning, and there's an equipment list in the description with Amazon links. And if you stick around to the end, I will show you this simple trick that I use to play a cool solo over pretty much any punk song. And here we go. So for this one, we're going to start with these ringing chords. The first one is going to be rooted at the 6th fret of the A string, and then we're going to have our ring finger bridge across the 8th fret of the D and G strings. We're going to play those 3 notes. Then we're going to slide down, same form of the chord, to the root note at the 4th fret of the A string. So we're going to let that ring out for a bit. Then we're going to go into the intro riff, and the intro riff is going to be 2-note power chords throughout with palm muting. It's going to be all downstrokes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll play it real quick. So we're going to start where we left off on those ringing notes at the 4th fret of the A string. And then we're going to play 2-note power chords, all downstrokes. Then we're going to move to a major chord, index finger rooted at the 4th fret of the low E string, ring and pinky at the 6th fret of the A string, and middle finger at the 5th fret of the G string. We're just going to be playing the bottom 2 strings here, but we're going to hold that form because we're going to use that later. Then we're going to move up to the 5th fret, then down to the 2nd fret. Then the second time through, we're going to start off with palm mutes and we're going to open it up at the end. Then the 3rd and 4th time through, we're going to really kind of open up with some bigger strums. And we're going to be playing a 3-note power chord to start at that 4th fret of the A string. And then we're going to play the bottom 4 strings when we move to the major chords rooted at the low E. So. Index finger rooted at the 10th fret of the A string to start. Then we're moving down to the 8th fret, then 7th fret, then 5th fret, and then 3rd fret. And then we're going to do this riff with some accents. And so when we end with that power chord rooted at the 3rd fret of the A string, we're going to hold that power chord form. And we're going to accent with our index finger just by pulling off our index finger from that A string and playing open. So. And then we're just going to move up, same form of the chord, to 7th fret, 5th fret, and back down. So all the way through. So for this one, we're going to be using 3-note power chords. We're going to start with the power chord rooted at the 7th fret of the low E. Then we're going to go to 7th fret of the A, and back to the 7th fret of the E. Then we're just going to slide down to the 5th fret and do the same thing. And we're going to use all downstrokes here. Then we're going to do this ascending riff starting at the 3rd fret of the low E string, same form of the chords. So we're going 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. then we're going to go back down. So. Now we're going to do an accent similar to what we did with the Sex Pistols song. So one more time through. All right, so for this one, we're again using the 3-note power chords. We're going to start off with this slide going from the 11th fret of the A string up to the 12th fret of the A string. And we're going to use up and down strokes here. So we're going to do that slide part 3 times. Then we're going to move down to the 10th fret, then the 9th fret, and then back up to the start. And then I like to use the tip of my index finger to mute the low E string so it doesn't ring out on these high chords. As you can hear, that string's muted. So one more time all the way through. All right, so for this one, we're going to start off with a minor chord rooted at the 2nd fret of the A string. And this minor chord is very similar to the way you would play a major chord. So we're going to have our index finger bridged across the 7th fret from the A string to the high E string. Then we're going to have our middle finger at the 3rd fret of the B string and our ring and pinky at the 4th fret of the D and G strings. So, and it sounds like this. So we play that 3 times. Then we go to an E major chord. And the E major chord is index finger at the 1st fret of the G string, middle and ring at the 2nd fret of the A and D. And then we're going to be open on either ends, so on the low E string and the high B and E strings. So we're going to do that 2nd fret minor chord 3 times. And then we're going to go to the E. And then we're going to go back to that 1st chord, the 2nd fret minor chord. And then we're going to go to a high E. And the high E is basically like a power chord. Index finger rooted at the 7th fret of the A string. Ring finger bridged across the D, G, and B strings. So it's basically like a 3-note power chord, except you're also bridging across that B string. So you're playing 4 strings, the 4 strings in the middle. And one thing to know is we want to be careful not to hit that low E string with our index finger when we're playing. Sounds a little off, so we are going to mute it with the tip of our index finger, and we're only going to be playing the 5 highest strings. And then it goes into this reggae part. If you want to learn that, we're going to be just playing, again, that 2nd fret minor chord. And we're going to do that rhythm, that back and forth. So we're going to play the high 3 strings. And we're going to alternate with muted notes. So to do those muted notes, you're just going to pull your fingers off of the strings and make them sound muted. And basically just like that. And then we're going to move up to this next chord, which is index finger bridge across the 4th fret. And we're going to be, again, only playing the high 3 strings, but I like to keep that bridge across all 5 strings just so it's less movement. And so we're going to play 4th on the G, 5th on the B, and then 4th again on the high E. And we're going to go back and forth between those two. All right, so that's it for the riffs, but as promised, I will show you this bonus cool trick to play leads over practically any punk song. And so for this trick, we are going to bridge our index finger over the B and E strings, and then 2 frets up on the G string, we're going to use our ring finger to bend up. It's like a unison bend, which is bending the G string to match the note of the B string. except we're gonna go kind of back and forth between the B and E strings and the G string. And I like to call them Chuck Berry bends because Chuck Berry played them a lot. So if you have a chord that's rooted at the low E string, so let's say we have a major chord here, it's a G rooted at the 3rd fret. We can play those Chuck Berry bends over that chord rooted at the 3rd fret up here at the B and E. And so if we have a chord progression that's, let's say, moving up the fretboard, we can play a Chuck Berry bend that matches the root note of each chord up the fretboard. So for example, we can take Johnny Thunder's One Track Mind, and over the top of those chords, we can play Chuck Berry bends at each position. So this is an easy hack to add a really cool sounding solo if you don't know how to play in a certain key or you don't even know the key of your song. You just figure out where the root note of the chord is, and you can use the same root note at the high E if the chord's rooted at the low E. So that's it for this one. I hope you liked the video. If you appreciate this content, remember to like and subscribe. I post new content very frequently, and I will see you guys next time.